Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mining Now. I'm your host, Jared Downey. I'm one of your hosts. We've got four hosts. We've got Gus Miner, Roy Slack, Rory Bamford, all asking a ton of questions from 28 different 30, 32 different companies that are being featured here at CIM in Vancouver for Mining Now. So thank you for watching. Today on the show, we have Hawk Measurement Systems. You've seen Hawk on the show a couple times over the years, but now we have Mathew Cook. He's the product manager for fiber optics. Judging by your accent, I think you're out of Australia.
Yeah, I'm a Sydney boy originally, but lived in Melbourne for just under 10 years now.
So we're going to get into it with Mathew. Cover Hawk from just actually a bit of a different angle than the other episodes. But we will put links to those other ones because there's some good content in there. And then the second guest will be Stefan Camille. I hope I'm saying Stefan's name right. The co-founder of Iottag, and that will be up in about 15 minutes. So make sure to stick around for that episode as well. Mathew, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So have you were saying before we got rolling, you hadn't done one of these before?
No, not of this style. A lot of the stuff I've presented webinars before, but generally not in person. It's prepared material and all that kind of, COVID obviously happened and we started doing presentations online, and a couple of those are on YouTube and stuff like that. But yeah,
I hate to do the I'll do the quick COVID question. But for a company like Hawk, who's got that global reach, did it open up doors to go, oh, we can do business this way? Has any of those things stayed around?
We are much better at the online thing. Yeah. And I think COVID gave everyone a crash course on how to do business online real hard. And things like, obviously things like Microsoft Teams and stuff have made it better. And, we all started out with Zoom initially. And learning how to use that. So we got better at kind of ongoing digital communications as part of that. Yeah. Because we had to.
You just had to.
Yeah, there's no choice.
And now it's kind of nice now because now this world where it's back to normal, but now you still have this tool.
Yep.
That you just didn't have before, or you did. Some people had it. One person wanted to do it online, but then the other person's like, I don't want to do it online.
Yep.
So it's like this. Now it's just everybody's.
Everyone was forced to learn how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you can learn. Hawk Measurement is. I've liked the company for a long time.
Yeah.
You have good products. You have good communication when we've done the other episodes. It's just very clear the value. I don't have to dig too much. I basically just set it up.
Yeah.
And that speaks to a good company. For anybody who doesn't know, though, can you just give sort of that snapshot of who Hawk is?
Yeah. So we're Australian based. We've been in Melbourne pretty much the entire time. We have global distribution manufacturers, rep networks, depending on which part of the world you're in.
Yeah.
We have traditionally been a level and point sensor company. So that's acoustic level for ROM bins, crusher level, that kind of thing. We've done all of the types of either free space or guided radars, which are for liquid level and some solid level, depending on the application.
We've dug in on those.
Before. So we've also had the sonars for bed level sensing in thickeners and in concentrate thickeners and that kind of thing as well. So there's one of the big things that we do is the microwave radar for block shoot detection. So we sell thousands of those things, especially with the iron ore in Western Australia. That's a big part of our business. But for me, the kind of the my little baby is the fiber optic system, which is, you call it a linear asset monitoring device. So it will monitor any asset you can look at on a map and draw a line on. So whether that's a pipeline or a rail or conveyors or fences or any of those kind of assets, and you can monitor them over vast distances. That's kind of the big 40,000 foot view on that one.
And how long have you been in that market?
So that started as part of a grant with Melbourne Water.
Okay.
They were digging trenches when I started. So that would have been July 2014. They were putting fibers into the ground around our facility to get that all up and going. So that would have started as a grant as part of a leak detection project. And then we basically picked up the ball and kept running with it with that. So we've done oil trunk lines. We've done water and oil in Oman and other parts of the Middle East. We've done, I think we've on our fourth job in North America right now with Conveyor. Conveyor has been a huge part of what we've been doing. It's a very unique application in terms of we're the only ones really offering it to a large scale. So we're all over the world where we're getting installs all the time.
Let's talk about our Heavy Industry World Tour, brought to you by Savannah Equipment, supplying mining equipment worldwide. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsmen.com to be part of Crownsmen's Heavy Industry World Tour. Did you know cementitious binders can be responsible for up to 70% of the total GHG footprint of mine backfilling processes? Now you can replace up to 50% of the binder in your mine backfill operations with Graybond, Graymont's new low-carbon cementitious binder. This lime-based alternative binder maintains a 40 to 70% lower GHG footprint compared to typical cement and can adapt to varying mine conditions without compromising performance. Learn more about Graybond at graybond.com. Effortless Corporate Traveler Management is here with Corporate Traveler Canada. Boost your business with trusted expert solutions that save time, money, and enhance the traveler experience. Trusted by thousands of companies worldwide. Book and track your travels on your phone or let your dedicated consultant handle it for you. Enjoy 24/7 support and live chat from any time zone and get real-time travel alerts anywhere you go. Your next business trip just got easier. Learn more about Corporate Traveler Canada at corporatetraveler.ca.
Is there some sort of recent project that sort of stands out to you? It's a kind of a good case study for people that are trying to kind of understand what to expect.
Yeah, so we've and you can have a look at this on our socials. We've just had a handover of a project that I started right as COVID started. So the installation was very slow because we couldn't get to site very often. But it's a 7.5 kilometer series of 3 conveyors that runs from a coal unloading station to a power plant. It's the main arterial supply. It's 2,500 tons an hour of thermal coal going into the primary bunker. If that supply line for any, if that conveyor was cut for any reason, it would be, something like 40 or 50% of the power of New South Wales, which is the state Sydney's in. So it's a pretty significant amount of people would be looking at power disruptions if that conveyor was down for any length of time due to a catastrophic failure or something getting torn in half. There's no backups on this particular conveyor. Yeah.
So when you're wrong time to have a drink of coffee.
Yep. Oh, I'm from Melbourne. It's fine.
Australia's big into coffee, isn't it?
Melbourne's considered the coffee capital of the world.
I've heard.
I'm struggling with North American coffee, I must say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it what?
I haven't seen a percolator in Australia since like 93. Like, it's not done. We've got a huge population of Greeks and Italians, especially in Melbourne, especially in Sydney. They brought that culture with them. It's amazing.
Really?
And the coffee is outrageously good in Melbourne.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
When you come down, I'll take you out somewhere. Just to one of the local places, it'll knock your socks off.
Really? Just an everyday place.
Everyday places. So Starbucks, I think, went bust twice in Australia.
Really?
Yeah, because the base level of coffee is so much better.
Well, that Starbucks is our main sponsor, but
there it is. There it is.
I'm kidding. They wouldn't. So on a project like that, what's the onboarding like on something like that? Is it because it's such a valuable asset that you're essentially monitoring?
Yeah. So I'll give you a cutout that you can probably put up on the screen. Or something.
Sure.
It's a traffic light based system. So we keep it simple for the operators because sometimes the operators can be simple. So we want to make sure that it's really clear. So we'll give you a list. So you sit down. The system's run right before your shift started. It's running a series of alarms and a report. You read the report and you can see all the new idlers. So anything that wasn't there yesterday has come up, and then you can see anything that's escalated to a certain level, and then you get a list of everything else. And you can go through and go, I need to really check out 2241, idler number 2241 on conveyor 2, because that has been read for 2 days.
So this is every idler.
Every idler frame. So traditionally in an idler, you'll have three, and then 2 on the return. So 3 on the carry, 2 on the return. We'll nail it down generally to that trio, right? Because we run along the stringers on both sides of the belt, so it's kind of a parallel system.
Yeah.
We'll also give you left, right. It's an indication though, not a measurement, because we're looking at how much signal we're getting left versus right. So it's inferred. So it's not a true measurement in that respect. But that'll give you left, right, which idler, and we're generally accurate to that frame plus or minus 1. Depending on the spacing. Obviously, if they're really close together, the accuracy goes out a little, but yeah.
Are people now? I've heard of these systems before. Are people pretty in tune? Like, is it Do you have to do much of a sales job nowadays, or are people reaching out to you?
They come to us.
Yeah.
The challenge in selling it is it's a capital project and they take forever because of the number of zeros involved in the type of design they are. These things can be for large installations, they can be between $500,000 and $1 million. But what they can do will allow you to earn your return on investment back in hours of equivalent downtime. If you've got a coal belt running 2,000 tons an hour and you're looking at $200 a ton for thermal coal, depending on, it's different. Australia versus here. I think we got up to 275 at one point. If you end up in a situation where you're at $400,000 an hour, I got to save you 2 hours of downtime and the project's done. If you can have an idler take your belt down and you can get it back in 2 hours, you're doing a good job.
Is a lot of it prevention though? Is that what it's before it ever?
Yeah. So I want to be able to tell you, hey, you might want to run the belt down because this idler is looking bad. Or I would give you, we have the reds, the yellows, the greens. Sorry, the red, orange, green traffic light. Yeah. So the idea is this one's only an orange. It can wait till next Wednesday when we're doing our shutdown.
Right. Okay. So it's also tiering your,
Yeah. So we tried giving it percentages, but it got a little bit, idlers can change over time and they jump around a bit. So we've basically kind of, broken it into thirds.
Right.
So you can see normal, priority 2, which is your, the orange idler. And then there's the red, which are the ones that clang and clatter and bounce around.
It must just be a huge, for people that have run these sites, all of a sudden now you're not all this guesswork, right? I mean, anybody who's watching, if a conveyor goes down, I mean,
Yeah, and we're also working as well because fiber optic sensing, you can do 3 things with it in traditional sense. You can do vibration or acoustic monitoring, whether that's acoustics, vibration through the air. You can also do temperature monitoring and strain monitoring. So the strain monitoring we use in tailings dams and things like that. But one of the things we're doing is we're taking the temperature monitoring system, putting it above the belt and using it for flame detection. So there's been a lot of people who've tried to do temperature monitoring of idlers. There's just not enough energy there to really get it across to the fiber. So there's been limited success.
So this is a separate line then for the flame?
It would be above the material. It sits under the weather cover, and you're just basically looking for accumulation of heat because of convection. Because otherwise all you've got is radiation in the field, and the amount of, if you've got a 100-degree idler and you've got an idler, if you've got a fiber 100 mil away, 4 inches, the change in temperature is less than a degree. So the University of Queensland, who's above Sydney, they did a big study on this, and effectively there's just too much turbulence. There's not enough, it's not an insulated enough system to be able to allow transfer. But one of the things we can do is throw a fiber above there, and then you can go back to your insurance company and say, I've got fire detection on my belts, give me a discount on my premiums.
Right.
That has been enough to make jobs worthwhile for certain clients.
Yeah.
Just that. Like no downtime saved. Literally, I'm just going to reduce my insurance premium.
In the demanding world of mining, safety and performance are paramount. Sophie is a comprehensive solution built for the unique needs of the mining industry. From the ground up, their technology helps everyone who works in, manages, and leads mining operations to create high-performance work environments and ensure they come home safely every day. Create the workplace everyone wants to be a part of. Choose Sophie. Visit sophie.com to learn more. CIM is Canada's leading technical institute dedicated to the sustainability of our industry. Members enjoy professional growth opportunities through CIM libraries, publications, webinars, societies, and the job board. Experience the CIM community firsthand at the Conference of Metallurgists, August 19th to 22nd, ICARD, September 16th to 20th, and the CIM Health and Safety Conference, October 6th to 8th. Visit CIM.org for more information and join CIM today. Attention builders, we've got everything you need to know about the grit and grind of the construction world in one show. The Construction Show is where you can share your expert techniques and strategies to help keep the crew strong and construction sites secure. From foundational tips, industry trends, safety strategies to advanced equipment and machinery. Be part of the voice of construction. Book your episode and showcase your company to millions worldwide. Visit crownsmen.com.
I was curious. We have a monitor that has a list of questions that's kind of scrolling past, and one of the questions that's on that screen is, basically what should be mandated by the government, and which is a really tricky one. But I'm not someone who defaults to the government should put in more regulation, but
there are certain mandates around the world. So
I'm wondering. Well, that's what I was going to get to. Is is this the type of like fire detection? It almost seems like that could be a regulation.
It could be. These assets typically you find out, especially for the overland assets, Joe, hill,
Yeah.
hill. The way you find out these things are on fire is you look over the horizon and see smoke, right?
It just seems so ridiculous.
Well, we better call someone. That's the kind of situation you end up in. So,
Is it supposed to do that?
yeah. Oh, yeah, happened again. Like
Yeah.
that kind of situation. But in certain parts of the world, Australia is one of them. If the belt is underground in a coal mine, it must be walked by someone of a superintendent level. Now, what ends up happening is people drive by and they stick their ear out the belt and they listen for what the Canadians we've been speaking to have been referring to them as clangers. So, squeakers or clangers, depending on how bad they are. Yeah. So, you just drive by.
Oh, it's still the red, green, blue.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. So the clangers are red and the squeakers are orange. And he just looked at me and went, yeah. I went, great. That's how our system works. This will be easy to eat.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest challenges is making sure that what we're reporting is the expectation of the site, because it's a subjective, like you can look at an idler and walk away in 5 minutes, it's making a different noise.
Yeah.
So we basically take a snapshot for a minute every 5 minutes and then build a model out of that.
Well, because once something goes off,
Uh-huh.
once the system goes off, now it's an active, it escalates.
So there's a certain threshold.
Yes.
We do monitor all idlers, but the ones that make it through, they need to make a certain amount of threshold. And we're not just looking at energy, we're also looking at frequency. So when we start with you, we'll get one of your idlers or the drawing from it and work out the bearings. So the size of the ball bearings in the bearings will make a difference to the target frequency we're looking at. And the inner and the outer race and the shell all have different modes of frequency. We build a model, a pretty generous model around that to make it all work.
Have you gotten in like the Canadian market? For US, but have you gotten a chance to work with some of the big mines out here?
We've got two in one of the big mines out in BC, close to the Alberta border, around Sparwood, for those who know.
Yeah.
And we've also people are aware of it. It's been talked about in public. Tech Coal have done a couple. They had a big talk on it. I think it's CIM last year.
Okay.
One of our contacts there did a big chat, and it's a highly successful situation there. They've got 2 installs. We've got another install going here in Vancouver, and I've been here for the last 3 weeks now, speccing a couple of jobs. We've also got a grain terminal that's going ahead down in Louisiana.
Oh, we've got to get you on our agriculture show.
Yeah. That's been a lot of fun, actually. Like obviously you've got some pretty significant grain movers out here as well.
Oh yeah,
we're having a bit of a chat with that. That was very much one of those. We're out there to have a look at that because they've had problems, and grains are spontaneous combusting flammable material. That's one of the other advantages with fiber optics as well. You don't need to worry about all your hazardous area approvals. There's no electricity. So the sense, like if I can get one thing past everyone, the sensing element is the cable. There's nothing else there in the field. We have a way that
I'm sure. Like I didn't understand that.
So effectively, like little changes that are occurring in the environment will affect the glass by compression. If in strain, they'll change density, in temperature, vibration will vibrate the cable, and those little changes, the light we get back, the scatter of that light changes. So if you imagine you have a prism in your hand that was made of jello and light coming out spreads a certain way, if I was to change the shape of that prism, that spread of light would change. And we are effectively, it's in the infrared spectrum, but we take that information in, we look at how it did look, how it now looks, and then we can actually take sound, temperature, and strain out of there.
Just for our limit of time today, I wanted to just ask, just from your sort of personal point of view, why do you think Hawk? Because it's such a successful company, and all my interactions, everybody's passionate. Everybody wants to share information. There's some sort of culture there, and I haven't even talked to the team from Australia. You're the first person from. It's always been the U.S. side. What is that culture that you've got over there? I've been quite interested.
We spend 25% of our revenue, not profit, revenue, on R&D every year.
Wow,
that's the big difference with Hawk. So we are owned by an engineer. So it's a single owner. And he is incredibly passionate about sensing. And Hawk has always focused on getting the front end of the sensing right, and then working on the back end.
So that's why the team is so like technical knowledge. Even on your marketing department,
Yep.
there's technical proficiency, and
Yes.
you don't like. I'll talk to some market. They hardly know the product
Yeah.
line.
We own our
yeah.
parts. Like
Wow.
we own our own
So that's
manufacturing
what it is.
in Melbourne. We really have our own quality procedures. We work with obviously circuit board suppliers and things like
Right,
that.
yeah,
We don't load around boards, but
Yeah.
we do everything else. Like
Yeah.
we're full assemblies done. And when you come down, I'll show you the factory in Melbourne. But we do our own R&D. There's probably about 12 full-time R&D engineers that
Wow.
work with us there.
That makes sense.
It's been an interesting company to work for, especially starting out. I finished uni, basically moved straight into this job, and it's just been jumped around in different.
How long have you been with them?
It'll be 10 years in July.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, Matt, I genuinely mean that it's very exciting to have. I've known Hawk for a long time, had them on the show, research, sort of stay up to date, on social media and stuff like that. So I'm glad we could actually tee this up. I hope we're getting you back on the show when we do our Australian tour, because it's going to be awesome to actually come to your facility. So
a pleasure.
Thank you very much, sir.
Too easy.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. We're going to now bring in Stefan Camille. He is the co-founder of Iottag. And, of course, for Hawk Measurement Systems, they have their LinkedIn. I think you have a pretty good YouTube channel, don't you?
Yeah, we've put a little bit of effort into some of the 3D animations and stuff as well to explain how they all work.
So go check out their YouTube channel, and you can connect. I see Matthew's link here to his LinkedIn. So go connect directly with him. And now we're going to bring in Stefan. Okay, we're here with Stefan Camille. He is the CEO and co-founder of Iottag. Stefan, good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Have you done a lot of these interviews before?
This would be the first.
First one, yeah. How about presentations, though? Have you got out in the market doing, the talks, the breakdowns of your technology?
We have, yeah. We had a heavy week last week, actually. We stopped into 3 separate mines around the Kamloops region.
Okay.
And we did.
My old stomping grounds.
Is it all right?
Yeah.
Nice spot.
When did you found the company?
3 years of development, end-to-end solutions from the tags to the ecosystem and back to the cloud.
Wow. And what was the biggest challenge in that? I know that's a heavy question. 15 minutes is not enough time, I'm sure. But is there sort of over those 3 years, was there like a problem you had to solve?
Yes, there's always a problem you have to solve, but that problem evolves. So
yeah.
The origination of the problem was in primary asset tracking, which is the core solution.
Right.
And it enveloped over time, and we realized we needed more information around sensor networks and different metrics that we could measure to be able to provide that asset tracking and the output from the software platform accurately.
Yeah. How much has it evolved from?
Started in the civil space, so we were in the tunneling space.
Oh, okay.
So still subterranean tracking, and we brought it through into the mining space.
Yeah, in the Australian market?
Australian market,
yeah. How was that? Was it pretty well received? Was it a challenge? I know even for us, when we first started in the mining space, like now we've got working with everybody, and it's wonderful. But I was just talking to someone, those first couple of years, it was tough to get in.
Oh, without question.
Yeah.
Look, we had an underlying solution which was already operating, and fortunately that kept us buoyant through the period. But even still, we find that it can be quite tricky. Every mine has its individual challenges.
Yeah, and culture, and yeah.
Certainly. And with the type of solutions that we offer, they're very much on the personnel side as much as they are on the asset side.
Yeah.
So understanding what the culture is there and what they need to fill those holes and provide visibility across their asset chain is important.
You need a lot of buy-in when you're going to get on site
from numerous departments before it can go ahead, and often regulatory bodies and unions also.
Right. What's we could probably do 2 hours just unpacking the challenge you have. But what when you're here at the event, sort of describing what you do, what is, if you got 5 minutes to try to lay it out for somebody, how do you go about that?
So the baseline for our solutions is it's a world of connectivity for personnel, for assets, and recently for raw material. Connecting all of those assets and moving parts back to the cloud, and then providing operational insight, performance, and safety for the mine sites.
So you're doing all of that.
Yeah, well, the baseline of the technology, which is probably why it took so long to get to market, is because it's quite versatile. It does have many use cases, and the types of technology that we wanted to roll out, we wanted it to be universal.
Right.
So that universal system allows us to have a visibility above and below the ground.
So are you doing it through, are you going direct to the mines? Are you doing it through partnerships? Like what kind of, like how's the network set up?
Yeah, we certainly use the partners to our advantage to be able to grow our footprint, and it's an overnight growth for the footprint. So we have different electrical contracting companies that we use internationally,
Oh, okay.
and we use other individuals within the industry which can provide us a complementary technology to ours, and it becomes an easy sale for them to come in with what they have and to upscale.
They're integrating into existing basically services they're providing.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So to give you an idea, we work with a lighting company that provides a digital highway for our technology to be able to get the data back to the cloud.
Right. What is the communication? Sorry, you'll have to take me into some of these areas because I'm probably not going to ask the exact right question. But is your technology, is it a two-way communication, or is it one? Is this a management sort of oversight communication, or is it like a two-way?
It performs two-way communication with the user and the cloud, and it can also provide communication back just directly from the cloud application and back to the tags themselves. So we can have different types of alerts which are sounded in a real-world environment based on a rule or a piece of logic which has been ingested into the cloud.
So do you have a particular now? Can you maybe give a mining setup? What is an actual example of what it would look like? I see you actually. I'm assuming these are some of the sensors here.
Yeah, so these are different types of tags that we have for different use cases. These ones in particular are used for tools and equipment. They can also be used on consumables. So having visibility of those coming in and out of an area, wherever they're meant to reside, they can be governed to that location.
Yeah.
So a tool shed, for example, we know when they come and go, and we reduce the churn. And people tend to fall in love with the tools that they have on site, and sometimes they want to keep them for good.
Yeah.
So that's that solution.
Sorry, just quickly, so on a tool, how would this attach on then?
So they'll use different types of silicon
to
seal them onto the devices. They can also pop rivet and screw as required.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's different sort of mechanisms for it. Now, when you say tools, are you talking $100,000 tools, or are you talking like, do people use them for like basic, drills and?
Yeah. Well, in fact, it's the drills and those types of items that walk
go
away
missing.
and they don't come back.
I might even have one in a shop somewhere.
Yeah. So the use case is automated tool shed.
Yeah.
The use case for this type of device is material tracking. So this can go inside the raw material after the blasting is complete.
Okay.
And we can track it all the way through the process. So we
Wow.
know where it's come from and where it's gone.
Wow.
And this is a personnel tracking based solution. So this is an ID card easily integrated into the existing workflow, covers the regulatory requirement of having identification when they're on site, and it allows them to communicate back to the cloud with their location.
So are there examples where you've seen companies do everything, like a full suite of what you're doing?
It makes sense to do so, and they certainly do. Yeah.
Wow.
Once they've got the ecosystem, which is the end-to-end solution, they're able to connect any of the asset tags straight into that technology.
What is the biggest challenge when you're talking to, like you did those presentations? Are there a couple sort of bottlenecks, like in just what their concerns are? What are some of those questions that you get? Not in like your service, but I just mean, where do they see, like, where do they have any doubts? You have to sort of go, no, this is how this will work. Sort of like when you do our show, people will go, oh, is it, can I retake questions? That's a big thing we learned. Like big companies aren't going to come on and just do a off the cuff interview.
Right.
So that's something we need to always clarify. Do you have things like that where they like tracking your people? They're like, well, our people don't want to be tracked, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, there's always roadblocks, and they can come from various departments. They have their intention, which is always good in their departments, but sometimes that doesn't help the tracking solution proceed.
Right.
We find that unions and regulatory bodies can be quite tricky when tracking personnel. We find that personnel prefer not to be tracked in some circumstances. Those that are working alone love to be tracked, and they want because
that becomes a safety issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if they have to access emergency services and they want to escalate an emergency, then that can become available to them. Their location can be provided. If there's damage to their windpipe, they have the location, they have the duress alarm activated, and they're able to receive that help where it's needed.
Yeah.
Unions can be tricky.
Why? I would think the unions would be quite supportive because they would want, like, because they kind of want people to do within a certain structure.
Yeah,
Sort of
yeah.
would seem to match with the tracking. Where's the challenge?
From the union's perspective, they're more worried about their teams or their personnel being tracked, and for those personnel to be monitored whilst they're in the bathroom, on a lunch break, and those types of areas.
But that's a fair. That would be a fair concern. It's weird that I didn't even think of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you sort of, is there zones where then it comes off or something? Like how do you do
So
that?
yeah, we can. We just remove the ecosystem, so the receivers wouldn't operate in those areas,
Right.
and we're tracking them when they're in the subterranean environment.
Right.
So when they're in what we refer to as a place of performance, which is when they're on work time.
Yeah.
The other requirement often is to anonymize the data, and in that way, it's
so
no
then
longer
poor Joe isn't getting disciplinary action because he stepped off the wrong place.
Correct. Because Joe is in the system effectively an apple, a banana, or a pear.
Yeah.
And that could just be a role in his discipline, but not necessarily his identification as a person.
Right.
And, knowing where Joe is or that apple is
in
the event of an emergency is important.
Yeah. See, and this is why and this is why you want to go into these areas, because I was thinking, look, why with unions? But now that makes sense. Yeah. If people are in private areas, those should be private. If you're not, if everybody's getting tracked, and now it's like, because you work for a company for 5 years. You're going to make a couple errors. You're going to go into somewhere you're not. The things happen. It just right. So you don't want to also turn people, and now every time you go to work, you're, watching every single step.
Well, that it can make them nervous, and that might be a disadvantage to the employer.
Right. But when it becomes anonymous, now it's a safety thing. Now I'm assuming there's this sort of, you got this historic data. So if there's a one-off, if the apple's a one-off, but now if it's every day, no matter who's there, that there's an error happening. Okay, now we have an issue in that area, right? Are they looking at the historic data a lot?
They could look at auditing all sorts of data from near misses, which could be an event, which could have been a risk. A vehicle, for example, traveling up an underground mine and passing in close proximity to a staff member. Those types of near misses we record, and we plug them into our AI backbone, and we provide insight reports based on near misses. So the data that we're getting just by them being inside a workspace is giving us information not only about what they're doing, but what the assets around them are doing.
When do you sort of see the light come on for people? Because tracking is a tricky thing, because some of the reasons you brought up, and also the amount of data. It's like, okay, what are we going to do with the data once we get it? Where do you see people go, okay, this is the value we offer, and you sort of see, that we can provide. I'm guessing something to do with this, because you have a whole ecosystem. You're not saying just personnel, just asset. You're actually doing the whole ecosystem of their operation. Is that fairly unique to your company?
Look, there are many companies out there that are providing different types of proprietary solutions.
Right.
Our system, the way that it works with the ecosystem of applications and receivers and gateways and tags, it lends itself to these types of solutions very, very well. So these are tags which are designed for anything that moves, and we have certain functions that are prevalent to each of the tags.
And I should just clarify, it doesn't really matter where it's above ground, under surface, all that, right?
It could be above ground in a large space. We could run a canopy over an area, which is giving us information about who's checked in and out of that large area.
Yeah.
And it could be done down to sub 1 meter accuracy within an underground space.
And who's in the mining space, where have you had the most success? Like which segment of the mining? Like processing, the drilling side, exploration?
Yeah, we do a lot of work in exploration. That's for asset-based tracking, which is traveling on and off site, which is quite important.
I see.
And the underground space tends to traditionally have a lack of visibility in the different environments.
Where in the I'm just kind of going back. So you said 2019, you sort of started to push in the mining space. In those years, what do you think? I mean, I'm sure you're always like every company, you're always trying to evolve and get better. What has been something over the last maybe 5 years? This is a two-part question. Over the last 5 years, 6 years, where you've went, okay, this is a new thing we've rolled out or a new way of doing things that's made it better for the clients. And then the second part of that question, sort of looking forward, what are you working? I'm assuming like AI, those types of things.
The AI backbone has been the last few years,
Yeah,
and we've realized the importance of being able to ingest more data into the system and for it to be more relevant to the business operations. It needs to make decisions, and it needs to be able to process more information.
yeah.
This has been a big part for us. We have an AI-based camera vision system, which will look for PPE in a given area. So we're scanning.
You sell the cameras?
We
Like,
do.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. This is
I
again.
missed that.
Yeah, no, it is in there. We roll that into. It is complementary to our existing systems.
Oh, okay.
Traditionally, we used cameras to be able to detect whether tags were being worn by personnel,
Oh, I
and
see.
that would give us the influence of, is it being successfully used? Is there any weakness? So it was more of a compliance level scan,
Right.
And now similar compliance, but with the advent of AI and our field technologies, we're able to scan for all sorts of safety glasses, helmets, high vis.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to wrap up, this is kind of one of a shorter interview because it's kind of two people on the show at once and that.
Right.
But I think I want to leave you with the question of development. 3 years and then do you still enjoy it?
Yeah,
Is it
absolutely.
still fun?
Look, it is new every day. We've got
Yeah.
some tags which are constantly in R&D.
Yeah.
We don't stop developing, and there's new problems to solve every day.
What made you just to start on the journey? I've been involved with a couple new businesses. This has been by far the most successful one. Um, it's a wild ride. It's fantastic what you're doing. We're coming to Australia. I hope you're pushing into the Canadian US market. We're coming to Australia, so I hope we get to do it again.
I'd love to have you on shore.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Bye-bye. And thank you everybody for watching. Of course, check out Iottag. It's iottag.com. We'll have a direct link. Just look in the description. You'll see it. You can also connect with Stefan on his LinkedIn as well as their LinkedIn channel. And you can connect and follow them there. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode of Mining Now.